time than now, with the current budget situation, to be reminded of this and recall the value of the network. The real value is you, all of your students, staff, citizens, patrons, constituents that the network brings together and enables. CEN is much more than just a physical infrastructure. The physical network may link us together, but the network is The network is just as much the people in this community that make it up. Before we get into the program, let me take just a minute to cover some of the logistics for our event today. In your conference program and on the conference program and on the conference mobile app, you have a copy of the convention center layout. Please, you can use the quick, I don't even know what that's called. The QR code to download a copy of our mobile app. And if you take a few minutes between sessions to just fill out the short survey, your feedback will help us in planning for next year's conference. Please take a note throughout the day where the exits are in case there's an emergency. And the restrooms, if you haven't been here before, are on each end of the conference center. In your badge holder that was provided at registration, you'll have a parking validation ticket so that you can get out of the garage. And more importantly, you'll have a drink ticket for the conference reception at the end of the day. If there's anything that comes up throughout the day or you need assistance, please feel free to stop by the registration desk. Please also take a minute today to mark your calendars for next year's conference. It will also take place here in Hartford at the Convention Center on Friday, May 12th, 2017. Finally, a big thank you to our sponsors this year. This event would not be possible if it was not for all the generous support from our sponsors. Our platinum sponsors, Juniper and Integration Partners, who are also hosting the reception at the end of the day. Thank you to our gold sponsors, iBoss Cybersecurity, Digital Back Office, E+, Pulse Secure, SHI, Palo Alto Networks, TBNG Consulting. Thank you to iBoss who made breakfast this morning possible, and to E+ and Pulse Secure who are sponsoring the lunch today. I also wanted to take a minute to thank the program committee for all their hard work and participation in shaping this year's event. As you interact with the conference committee members, CEN staff, and especially our sponsors, please take a minute to let them know you appreciate the efforts they've made to make this conference as successful as it will be. I can't say enough about how much hard work and dedication will go into this event. Over the past year, CEN has hosted a variety of professional development sessions. Some of those in the room have helped with these sessions. We're very grateful to that. We look to you, our CEN members, not only for your input, but your participation in the themes of these sessions, using them as a way to share the best practices among our schools, libraries, IT professionals. Examples of our sessions that we've held over the past year on the slide deck on the screen. We welcome your continued feedback and additional suggestions so that we can build our collective knowledge and enhance the people side of our network community. This past year, we've also been busy with some of the infrastructure upgrades. We now have 300 gig connectors to the network. We have a lot of 10 gig connections that schools have upgraded from 1 gig. We have 81 towns connected to the network and are participating in regional collaborations. We're always interested in learning how people are using the network. We continue to add direct connectivity and additional content and peering. This year we turned up a connection to the Massachusetts Internet Exchange in Boston, which will enable us to do additional peering. In case you've missed the big news over the past year, in September, ARIN, the American Registry for Internet Numbers, ran out of IPv4 addressing. We have a few members that have been making progress to the new version of the protocol, IP version 6. We have the University of New Haven and a handful of other members and some libraries even that have actively started to deploy and test IPv6. CEN has provided this support since 2009. We actually have a few sessions today that are going to talk about IPv version 6, and if this is something you don't know about, you should. One of the other major activities that we've been undertaking over the past year is in response to DOS attacks, distributed denial of service attacks. I borrowed a couple of statistics from Akamai's latest State of the Internet Security Report. DOS attacks, this won't be a surprise to many of our K-12s and higher ed, and even some of our libraries in the room. They're only increasing in frequency. In a one-year period from the fourth quarter of 2014 to the fourth quarter of 2015, there was over a 150% increase. In just the last quarter of 2015, there was a 40% increase from the previous quarter. Repeat attacks, this won't come as a surprise to many of our schools. Repeat attacks are normal. We see this frequently at our schools. You'll see a 10-minute attack, and then you'll see nothing for a few hours, and then you'll see another 10-minute attack. It's extremely frustrating. So we've been diligently working behind the scenes with multiple vendors on a solution that will provide relief for our schools. And we're excited to announce that just last night, Mark Raymond and I were chatting back and forth online and testing the solution that we put in place, and actually mitigated the DOS that we created against ourselves, and finally have worked out a lot of the kinks in the deployment. We're looking forward to doing some fine-tuning and additional work this summer to scale that out further, but we're really excited to finally be able to help our members and protect some of our schools and libraries against these attacks. Not a day goes by that we don't see an attack against one of our members, so this is really critical, and a huge amount of effort from the CEN staff went into this. Being a network person, right, I got put up the network slide and usage, or we wouldn't be likely not to have that. This year we saw a 50% increase in network usage over last year. This is still well above what the traditional internet sees for annual growth on a year-to-year basis. On a daily basis, last year at this time we were doing roughly 37.5 gigabits per second. That's a lot of bandwidth. Today we're doing over 56 gigabits per second. This summer we'll continue to do some work scaling backbones, our regional connectivity, and external peering, so that we'll make sure that we continue to provide no contention on our network and the best service that you can get anywhere. Over the next year, we're working with our partners in the Northeast to extend our MPLS and optical backbone into New York City. When this is complete, we will have a 200 gig backbone ring between Connecticut, New York, Boston, and back to Connecticut. In-state, we'll have our 100 gig backbone between our three core sites, and we're looking for additional external peering capacity to continue to scale and provide uninterrupted service, as well as additional peerings with Google, Akamai, Netflix, VMware, vCloud, Amazon, AWS. These are just some of the possibilities that become available when we reach New York City. This past year, and especially the last couple months, hasn't been without its challenges. We've primarily, due to our current state of affairs with the state budget, it's really challenged us greatly. The uncertainty has caused some significant changes to our business model. The biggest is the switch from CEN being an E-rate applicant to an E-rate service provider, so that we can actually respond to the school's E-rate 470s and continue to provide service to our schools and libraries. With the legislative process still ongoing, but nearing an end, we look forward to having some clarity and being able to send out a communication shortly after the budget is finalized. Our communications will likely include an email, letter, and potentially a webinar or conference call as well. And at this time, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome Mark Raymond, our state CIO, to the stage to say a few words.
Thank you, Scott, for both your leadership and for a review of some of the things that we've been moving forward with CEN and where we're going. The old phrase, "may you live in interesting times," becomes more and more appropriate every day. I have 2 teenage daughters in prom this weekend, so I didn't think it could get more interesting, but it turns out I was incorrect. So thank you all for sticking with us through the ups and downs of these difficult fiscal times. We've been asked to move towards a self-funding model, and we are. And while we're doing this brings challenges, but also brings opportunities for us, and we're looking to fully embrace those. So as you've heard from Scott, we're moving forward with this new model. And through this, we're going to be able to capture E-rate funding for the overall network, and it could be in the magnitude of the millions of dollars for network services in much greater quantity than we ever have been able to do before. This important change, while adds a bunch of administrative work for you and for our teams, brings to the state and to our taxpayers a much lower cost for running the overall network. And so it's an important change for us, and we believe that it's in the best interest for the long-term sustainability of the network. I believe that the budget situation will be finalized today, although that's always very difficult to predict. And I know that the lateness of this change also creates difficulty for you and your budgets, many of which haven't been finalized already for the upcoming year. But through this uncertainty, I can share with you several truths that have remained consistent through the entire process. So all parties, you talk about the Connecticut Education Network, know that it's a tremendous asset to the state. It's something that's very unique in all of the country, and that we've gotten value out of this yesterday, today, and will into the future. We will continue to make investments in the network, and that's evident through the connecting of the municipalities to the network, bringing on more private industry, and also the new program to upgrade our connections to the libraries to fiber optic connections. So people in the state understand the value, and we're going to continue to invest in that. And our state leaders, while struggling with the rough economic times, they understand that access to high-speed networking is today what being next to a river was like in the industrial age, and the importance of that to a factory or a mill in the early stages of our country's development. It is critical to our success, and it's where the future innovation will rise. The members of the Commission for Education Technology, which provides overall guidance for the CEN, some of which are here joining us today, recognize that the ongoing need to leverage technology to improve learning outcomes is just critically important. It's so important to the Commission that we've finally been successful in hiring an Executive Director, Mr. Doug Casey. Doug will be familiar to many of you from his role as the Director of Educational Technology for CREC. We're thrilled to have someone so familiar with education for this critical role. And Doug has hit the ground running. with great energy and passion for the Commission. In a very short period of time, he's organized and launched 4 working groups around subjects of infrastructure, data and privacy, digital learning, and practices. If you're interested in participating in any of these efforts, we would welcome your participation. And please let Doug know. He'll be at the conference all day today, but you can always reach him at doug.casey@ct.gov. Doug has also launched a process of actively partnering with Connecticut universities, investors, and district leaders to support the development of innovative educational technology solutions that will both bring jobs to the state and directly impact student learning and success. You can learn more about this initiative and meet with 3 of the companies who are in that space by visiting room 10 today during your lunch break. And I think this underscores the final point of my remarks, and I think Scott hit on this as well. CEN is about the networks. It's about fiber. It's about high-speed connections to create opportunities, to innovate and grow, but the network is also about the people. It's about the CEN team that supports whatever crazy requests that come in. Right? We provide a personal service that understands and appreciates the business that you're in. Municipalities, education, libraries, that's what we're here to serve. We know that CEN is about you. It's about our members who share innovative ideas, not just with us, but with each other, that improve our ability to reach students and learners everywhere. And it's about our towns that value the CEN service, reliability, and scale, to always be there for what you need today and for what you need tomorrow. So as Scott mentioned, we're making investments to be ahead of what it is that you need, and that's been one of the very proud points for the network along the way. So our relationship within the network, me, you, Scott, each other, it's not simply commercial between a consumer and a provider. It's one of shared purpose and of shared mission. Our relationship is forged through a common shared goal to utilize technology to bring quality, efficient educational opportunities to learners of all ages. Organizations around the country marvel at what we have, and we should be very proud of it. They appreciate that we can launch new initiatives like distance learning, online testing, and many others without having to consider whether we have the appropriate infrastructure in place to serve those needs. So please continue to share your success stories with me, Scott, Brand, or any of the members of the CEN or the CET. We love to hear the creative things that you're doing and continue to focus those stories and share them with others. I would like to thank you for your time and attention today and your participation in the conference. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. I will be here for large portions of it if you want to stop by and say hello. And feel free to visit. So thank you again for all your time.